Welcome back, interweb friends. This is Stop the Movie I Want to Get Out, a podcast about some of the worst movies Hollywood has ever made and why we find them so unintentionally hilarious. I'm Alex Dunbar. I'm joined, as always, by Cody Wolf, Andy Wolf,
hello,
Brian Mueller, Jack Estabrook,
yo,
and we have a very, very special guest joining us this week. You know her from your television, Caitlin Newclo.
I think you
in.
only invited me because I'm a girl, and we watched this girly movie.
What? No.
I was supposed to like it because I'm a girl, but I didn't.
you brought me here to see a terrible movie. What? No.
It's a total coincidence. No idea what you mean. What? Yeah. Caitlin kind of revealed that our movie this week is the 2012 new movie.
A Little Bit of Heaven.
A Little Bit of Heaven.
It's a little bit. It's a little bit of something.
Now, what was it? You know, was there a tagline for this? Because I was thinking.
I think it was a little bit of something.
I was thinking like maybe colon cancer can be fun, or sluts get cancer too was the other one I was thinking.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, that's
I like
pretty
the
good.
second one
That's
better.
pretty good.
Sluts
That
get
would
cancer
fit.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the two would be the
up.
numeral 2.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because it'd be a
For the-
sequel.
Yeah,
Just make it
yeah.
more edgy. Before we start the movie, I want to get into the
Roman
background of
numeral
this
two.
film a little bit, because this confused me, I don't know if it confused anyone else. Does anyone remember this movie in the theaters?
No.
I didn't know
No.
this movie
No.
existed.
I never heard
No.
of it.
It premiered in theaters, we're recording this in early July, it premiered in theaters in May.
No, did not.
It
Of
has, it,
this year,
this year, it
was
simultaneously came out on VOD and in theaters at the same time.
Wait, it was out a month ago?
you mean like Rubber?
In May, yeah.
Really?
But it was, apparently
I
it
thought
did
so,
not
no.
do well in its
It
pre-screenings.
didn't do well?
No.
That's the
It
shock.
only, it only opened in like 11
What? No.
theaters. It made $10,000 its opening weekend. True
Wait,
story.
No, it did not.
No way.
It only opened in like 11 theaters.
You save it. This should be So Wrong It's Right. You
Yeah.
say,
Oh no, we have a great So Wrong It's
Oh, my
Right.
God.
Stay tuned. We have my
What was the
favorite So
budget
Wrong
on
It's
it?
Right game.
Was there a budget?
Great question. I had to really research this. $12.5 million.
Oh my God, 12.
I know. I don't know where that money went. This
Well,
was-
Treat Williams is in the movie. I'm sure that
Well,
cost a pretty penny.
It had to all go to cast. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
it didn't have a terrible cast. It just had a terrible everything else.
that
Yeah.
sums it up pretty
The
well.
casting director did a great job.
That's the
Yeah.
podcast,
I mean,
ladies and gentlemen.
Whoopi
Yeah.
Goldberg.
I was
was
gonna say
in
if
it.
I'm going to cast a guy, I'm on Whoopi Goldberg's my
Your
first
top
choice.
pick?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, all right. Let's jump right into what we do. Is we are going to talk our way through the movie, and our thoughts as we get all the way through it. I knew we were in trouble right away when I saw Kate Hudson riding a vintage bicycle with a basket on it, because I hate hipsters.
With the hipster music going too.
I hate
There's
hipsters. I
some
hate
music.
anything hipster.
It's like an upbeat, like a power, like a yeah. I'm a strong, independent girl, and I'm riding my
Well,
classy
yeah.
bicycle
Right.
down
Well, no, was
an
that?
old school looking, like an old style looking street.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
And she picks up her friend's.
It's all like
baby.
sepia toned or
Yeah.
whatever, and
Yeah.
Right. And the first line she says is, "Have lots of sex with him," with her husband.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
That really set the
I
tone
might
for the
like
rest of the
this
movie.
girl. Yeah, I might like this girl. I don't know. This might be a good movie."
Oh,
That's
no.
when I tuned out.
I was,
but that's when she's holding it. It
when
would
I
be
opened my
okay if they were in
laptop up and
a
started
more
surfing the
appropriate
internet.
setting, I suppose. But the little girl was right there.
Right on.
I mean, I'm not a prude. I wasn't offended by it, but it was like, there's a little girl right there. Some taste.
Hey, we're going to jump around a little bit, but I have to talk about, before this gets off my mind, is Kate Hudson's best friend in the movie was, I don't know what you guys, I don't think she was wearing enough eye makeup. Did anyone else get that sense? She should have been
Which
wearing
best
more.
friend? There, she had like 17 of them, I think.
No, the single.
I think
best
he's talking
friend.
about the black
Single
guy.
best friend. Oh,
Yeah, no, the
Oh.
single best
The
friend.
bad teacher,
The
red-haired
girl
girl?
who looked like a
Redhead
raccoon.
girl, yeah,
because she was wearing like
Yeah.
2 pounds of mascara
Yeah.
in all of her scenes.
She's like the smarmy one. Or,
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait,
Smarmy.
smarmy. What?
Smarmy. What's the word?
Smarmy, but I don't know where you came up with
Sort of
it.
a strange use of
Yeah.
smarmy.
Wait, what's the definition of smarmy?
He read a dictionary last night.
Smarmy's like sarcastic. Well, she was sort
Yeah,
of
that's what I'm saying.
sarcastic.
She's like a smarmy, like a. I'm the smarmy one because they had their typical.
Hey, I heard you were
They had
a
a typical
smarmy.
friend pool there.
Okay, so she's got all these friends,
And at one point they said we got to have a black guy and we should have a gay guy,
That's just
and they just
one
like
character.
just put
Yeah,
them
we're
together.
gonna get into
Yeah.
that
That
later.
way we
That
got-
was a
yeah.
confusing character.
that was
Yeah.
very confusing.
Yeah.
So she has all these friends, and like pretty much every other Kate Hudson movie ever made. She's irreverent and a free spirit.
And she doesn't like relationships.
And
Slutty.
commitment
She's
phobe.
slutty.
Yeah.
Well,
She has
basically.
commitment issues that they never explore.
If I was Kate Hudson, I would just stop playing these like free spirit characters. That's like every movie, and she's been on this career slide for like 10 years.
That's
She's
why she
being
made the
typecast.
skeleton key to break that mold.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That one was a little bit different. And she goes to the other. This movie starts pouring on cliches, fast and furious. There were two things I didn't want to see in this movie, and we'll bring up three things I didn't want to see in this movie. One of them they hit right off the bat. I said this to Stephanie as we were watching.
The bicycle basket?
The
Not
baby?
bicycle basket. I said
The
if she has the cliche Hollywood job of working at an advertising firm,
all right.
right in there. You know, very Hollywood. You know, working at an ad job.
So, but yeah, she shows up to her job and her friend's like hungover and like, how the hell can you be out partying all night? You can still work. And she says, because I got it down pat. And then she struts her stuff. She goes in there and she does lay it down. She sells this like condom
Of course, it's
ad.
condoms, yeah.
And she's like, you know what? Why would you try to sell a condom to a dude? Women buy condoms too. And then she like slams the sale, and then Stephen Weber pats her on the back and is like, "Hey, congratulations! You're the best salesperson I've ever had."
I was disappointed to see Stephen Weber in this movie.
I was. There's a lot of actors
I
in this
liked
film
him,
that you'll be
and
disappointed to
I didn't
see in
wanna
it.
see him in it.
I was just, pretty much everybody who showed up. I was like, ooh, really?
I was gonna-
yeah.
I was on the fence about her sales pitch when she was saying, like, would you rather have the Trojan brand or the brand with the attractive woman on the
Yeah, her
cover?
condom pitch is terrible.
Like, which
No
one was
girl is
better?
buying
Because
that
both
condom.
sounded okay to me.
Well, but that's isn't that the idea? The idea was she was
Trojan
saying
or an
that.
attractive lady.
She said if you put a sexy lady on the condom, they're not going to sell because women are your market. You're selling them wrong. I think was what she was saying, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
did-
her
have you ever
pitch
bought
wasn't
condoms?
very clear.
Have you ever bought
All right,
condoms?
Andy,
Yeah.
let's...
See, I don't know many women who bought condoms before.
Right.
'Cause-
Her pitch is
'cause we don't
flawed
live
from
in
the
a-
I know.
start.
Yeah.
Well,
I know every woman I
I'm,
was with. She's like, go. I had to go and get them.
Leave a comment on Jack's Twitter or on
What?
Facebook. Women,
It's like,
have
you know,
you
I'd be
bought
like, what do you
condoms?
want?
Yeah.
Receptacle
Well,
in,
I
rib, what
guess
do
I
you
have
want,
been
you know?
schooled. There, I stand corrected.
We've also just kind of derailed into a weird analysis of Andy Wolf's personal history here.
Andy has never known a woman who's bought a condom.
Nope,
Yeah.
only classy ladies I've known.
All right. So her
But
terrible
it's
pitch,
responsible, right?
Somehow-
well, her awful pitch to this client goes so well she gets elevated to vice president right after
I know,
the pitch.
right?
Yeah,
Right,
She
yeah.
like walks out of the meeting and she's a vice president. That was so good.
You did your job. Here.
You
here's
just
the
told
promotion.
people who've been in the condom industry for 30 years that women buy condoms.
Yeah, reset the condom world on its head.
So then we come up to the second cliche coming up. One of
Which one?
her friends is pregnant.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And the
At a bar while having a drink, she reveals to her friends that she's
And
pregnant.
the second she said that, I thought this, just like you thought.
You're gonna be born.
Oh God, don't do the cliche
Yeah.
thing at the end, please, please.
Yeah.
You knew that was coming.
That was one of the three I didn't
Yeah,
want
I was
to see.
like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yep.
Wait, which one do you
If
want
it's
to see?
cliche, it's in this
Basic
movie.
cliche, life goes on, and like
Yep.
That's
in
one
the-
life-
in the
We'll get-
end,
we'll get to that scene.
yeah,
We'll get to
yeah,
that
we-
scene.
yeah.
So jumping forward, we start.
She's
to,
drinking in a bar. She's pregnant.
She's drinking in a bar, and her.
We can
and
do
Kate-
that in the first
Jack
stage.
was very upset about this. He's
You can
got
do that in the
very
first
strict
stages.
That's
scruples.
really of all of the unhealthy things that go on in this movie. That's pretty
I'm just
minor,
pointing them
I
all
think.
out. I'm pointing them all out. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
There's
Driving without her
several.
seatbelt on.
She didn't turn 15 feet before making it.
Now here, okay, keep going.
Well,
I
and
wanna
we
know
start
where
to
you're
realize that Kate Hudson might be feeling well, and we start getting lines that I think it's supposed to be a zinger, but her friend says to her, I think this vice presidency is making your tits smaller.
Yeah.
So-
Well, oh, that was in the office, though, right?
Yeah.
That was
'cause
her smarmy friend.
That was
right.
her smart.
That's it, right?
Which
Well,
actually,
actually
after
is
looking
a-
at the definition,
And then
I
Stephen
think
Weber
Andy-
comes in.
Are we supposed to
Who's her boss? Isn't Stephen Weber her boss?
Appreciate-
Now, Caitlin, are these characters being written to try to appeal to women? I don't understand. As a guy, I mean, is this like characters that you bond with, like as a woman watching this film? Like, oh, that sounds like something my friend would totally say.
No, because I'm not smarmy nor slutty, so
There we-
I'm not
Well,
connecting
that's
with
true.
either
You are
of
a
these
little
characters.
Thank you very much.
'Cause then-
We have not gotten to the point yet where I've fallen asleep. I'm still awake at this point in the movie.
Then
I'm very.
Then Stephen
Caitlin
Weber,
is
her
fully
boss,
engaged
comes
at this
in,
point.
right?
Caitlin Nuclear, I'm very appreciative of that
Well,
answer.
Stephen Weber, her boss, comes in, right, at that point, and she
Yes.
says, aren't her tits getting smaller?
Yeah, there's
I'm like, what really? It's
This
how
movie
you
is just full of
conduct yourself in the
inappropriate.
workplace.
Yeah.
This movie is
Vice
just. This
president
movie
now, so-
defines
Oh, all right.
inappropriate.
Yeah.
No one in this movie has any boundaries.
But back it up
Oh,
because
even Weber was like, yeah, let's not.
you got to back it up because I actually rewound at this point.
Wait, you rewound?
I fast
Well,
forward.
because there's a line. There's a line that happened.
What scene?
I'll tell you.
Lawrence.
Give me a second. I'll
rewind.
tell you. Jeez, jump all over me. Jeez.
Sorry.
Sorry, Andy, didn't mean to hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Hit your bagel. No, I had to rewind
That's
it
what we call it when
because
they're
they're leaving the bar, and the line Kate Hudson says that the couple are leaving, and Kate Hudson yells out. The one guy, black guy, says something. Oh, good luck with the baby, or something. And Kate Hudson says, "I hope he has a big penis."
Yes.
Oh,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
I'm like,
rewound
what?
that?
I
This-
rewound. I'm like, she didn't say that.
This movie
If
is
that's
just.
a line they put in there. I hope your
It's
son has a big
vulgar.
penis.
This is just
Vulgar.
vulgar and inappropriate. Absolutely.
Vulgar.
And
What-
I was like,
this
oh,
is
That's
just
a nice
not.
thing to say.
That was a stop the movie moment for me right there.
Wait,
Where
this
This is
like,
like, what is
Well,
with
that's what I
this
hate.
movie?
That's what I hate about movies with this is when they make the female lead like just overly
Raunchy.
just
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
think that's what
Well,
guys
they-
want.
Overly smarmy.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, we've already established that's not what women identify with, and let me just tell you that guys don't really identify
no, I
with that
didn't. I was
either.
like, that's.
I didn't like her at all.
And we
You
then
don't
move
like
on
her. That's
to-
the thing. You don't like that character
Oh, you
at
don't
all.
like
Right
her.
off the
Yeah,
bat.
'cause there's like
So then when you
Up until
find
the
out,
end.
when you find out the big news, you're not nearly
I
as
like
emotionally invested in her.
No, right.
I mean,
The
I would
dog, I like
understand
the
if there was
dog.
backstory, like she's got some issue that she's trying to deal with, and she's kind of afraid of commitment, and they really don't imply this. She's just right off the get-go, she's inappropriate, and she's very...
Right.
I mean, and there's a fine
slutty.
line
I
between
mean,
like
what else can
free
you say?
spirit and like just being like
Well,
annoying.
and if she was like that, and it was just like to cover up her, how she really is, that's one thing. But that's just
Exactly.
her
She,
character.
yeah,
She's
there's
full
like
blown-
no...
yeah.
Well, Treat
Yeah.
Williams was a really crappy dad. We can't overlook that.
Treat Williams
Was
is a
he?
crappy
No,
dad.
I don't-
But no,
Yeah, I know.
Maybe he
That's
just thought his
established.
daughter was terrible.
Yeah.
maybe he wasn't there for her, and that's why she's terrible.
Yeah.
Actually, when you think about it, Treat Williams is the only character.
We're
in
being
this
so
movie that
harsh
has any
to-
like
way too deep.
appropriate boundaries with the people in his life.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
But they don't really
then-
explore that.
no. Well,
Again,
And
nothing
I
gets
would-
Right, and
explored
then
in this
now
movie.
she locks a dog in the bathroom and has sex with a guy, right?
Yeah.
Is that where we
Yeah.
are now? Okay.
Okay.
So
yeah.
the dog's in the
Who is not
bathroom.
okay?
Wait, did we get past the point where she gives the dog to her naked friend?
That was the opening.
Who they
Oh, yeah,
imply
yeah.
that they
Which
had
Just
sex
random.
with.
You're like, wait a minute.
They imply that she had sex with him too, don't they?
No, because that's her gay.
No, I think he's gay.
Well, we didn't know.
Oh,
at
he
that
is?
point.
Though
They never said he was
I-
gay.
We'll talk
did
about
they?
that
Though
later.
who
Who, the
knows?
black guy?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
we'll talk
Yeah.
about that scene.
Okay, okay.
It's not implied at the beginning that he's gay. I will say.
Okay.
It is implied later.
Which is
Later
confusing.
on, right? Yeah, it takes.
Yeah.
Right.
I knew it right away.
There's no did you stretch my sweater out, don't go in my closet scene to really establish this.
Is that wait?
Wait, what?
The reference
What?
back to the
I thought you
first
were
podcast.
Bill.
I had to
Yeah,
reference the
go
first
for.
episode ever.
Oh, that's
It's a
right.
callback.
Yeah.
That's a
It's
callback.
callback.
right there.
That's what we-
What was that?
This is what we call a callback, folks.
Oh, there we go.
yeah,
That was
okay,
how many
yeah.
go for? Okay. That's all right. Wow, that was a good callback.
Yeah, that was.
So we,
And
we're
I'm
then-
done.
We're then treated to the worst meet cute scene in romantic comedy history, where on paper, she's getting a colonoscopy. I'm sure on paper the thought of a meet cute while she's
no,
getting
wait.
a colonoscopy would be. I mean,
She goes to the doc. I'll let you finish, Alex. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
before
but
the call.
Yeah, there's one
so
thing
so
here that
she's
happens
so
that
she's
I
so
hated.
she has sex with this guy, and he like asks her, like, is this going to be anything more serious? And she quickly says something like, no, I'm just in it for the fun, whatever. Then all of a sudden she's at the hospital, and she's wearing like this sexy lingerie under her like nobody looks good in hospital gown. I have no idea why they did that. And now she's at the doctor's, and they never explain. There's no scene where she like wakes
Well,
up
and
after a
there's-
long night of partying and is like, "Whoa, something's not right."
Well, no, her
or
friends
something,
say you
right?
don't look. you
Yeah,
don't
in the
look
bar.
around.
There's like,
Yeah.
you don't look well.
Yeah,
You should
you
see a
should go to the
doctor.
But she looks. But here's another thing.
She
She
didn't
looks
look good.
fine. She didn't look ill.
No, I thought she did.
Yeah,
'cause
she
at first, when I
did.
saw her, I was like, ugh,
she
didn't
doesn't
look
look
good.
ill.
Well,
Andy
she
rewound
doesn't
it
look-
and was like, yeah, Josh
She looks like she looks like the actress without makeup on, but she doesn't look like
Well,
she's
in
dying of
Hollywood,
colon
in
cancer.
Hollywood,
Right.
that looks sick.
Well, she
But she
never
looked-
looks ill in the home.
No, I know. Well, we'll get into that too.
Yeah.
But there's
Yeah,
one
I
thing.
mean,
in
anyway.
the doctor's
But so
scene-
she wants this. Yeah, go ahead.
And there's in this doctor's office scene, there was something that happened which I hated because it was another cliche. Is they have one of those, I don't know how would you describe it, but one of those like half body things with all the
Yeah.
guts inside, and of course she does something goofy and everything falls out, and it's
It's
one of those cliche scenes you see in any doctor's office scene in any movie.
But
That's what really made this movie, the hijinks. The hijinks really worked.
Yeah.
And Treat Williams.
That's what you need in colon cancer movies: hijinks.
Yeah.
antics.
Hijinks
But-
and capers.
Then the doctor walks in.
And of course,
Who,
he's
what?
this good-looking,
I don't think he's
mysterious
good-looking.
European
I
guy
don't
with
think
a
he's
thick
good-looking at
accent,
all.
right?
I don't think he's good.
Yeah, it's kind of like.
Oh, then I
He's
stand
like,
I stand
"I thought he was
corrected
good-looking."
again.
Yeah,
It's
I
very
know.
interesting to
Well, he
analyze a
walks
chick
in
flick
and her
with a
line
check.
is,
I was swept off my feet.
Oh,
"D-
yeah.
"Oh, you look familiar. Have I slept with you?" just to...
No, it wasn't even that. It was you.
Have we
look
had
familiar.
sex?
We had
Yeah,
sex.
sex,
You didn't
yeah,
even-
yeah,
it was
Put
much
it right
truer
out
than
there.
that.
So
And,
nice.
even the doctor is like, what?
Just to emphasize the sluttiness of the character.
She's like, oh, never mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just
Kept saying,
inappropriately
"Poor
hitting on
Opie
my
man."
doctor.
So let's. I hope I'm not jumping ahead too much, but so she's getting a colonoscopy while meeting her cute doctor.
And the worst cutaway scene ever when
yeah.
when he's when she's like, oh stop, I'm ticklish. When he's like pushing her chest to check out like what's wrong.
Like if they're an
and then there's
obstruction or
like that
something.
second like cutaway of her feet like
Yeah, what the hell
kicking
was
in
that?
the air.
I didn't even notice that.
Oh, yeah, I noticed
I
it.
must have
It's
started
dumb.
dozing off at this
Yeah.
point.
This is at the 10-minute mark, by the way.
We're serious about this.
Did you have any? Did you see most of it, or you didn't see any of it, or what?
No, I think I fell asleep during the middle part of it.
Well, because she fell asleep already. We're like,
And you're rewinding.
we're
stuff
done with
before
it. We're done with you.
And he's fully invested rewinding to check lines and stuff.
Yeah.
sleeping. On
I was too busy intently tweeting
what did
every
she
last
say?
second.
Oh.
So we then are somewhere in here. We're subjected to the craziest scene where she has a. Is it a dream sequence? Basically, she finds herself in the clouds. And
Yeah, she's
stay,
getting
stay
her
with me
surgery.
Here. Yeah,
or whatever.
She's getting a
She's
biopsy.
under-
done.
yeah,
She's getting a biopsy because I was about to say they don't put you under anesthesia if they're just going to scope you.
They would.
They don't do that.
What-
So I was confused
Well,
at
no,
first.
Yeah, there's one person who
When they
remember
scope you?
Yeah, you don't remember.
Yeah.
Believe me.
We're getting a lot of
Did you see Whoopi Goldberg when that
I
happened?
didn't see Whoopi.
Well, because that's what you get. Yeah. Stay with
So
me
she
for
passed-
this,
okay.
Because you almost need a flow chart to understand this. She finds herself up among the clouds, talking to Whoopi Goldberg.
Who is Whoopi Goldberg?
Who is it's
No,
Whoopi Goldberg playing God. God who is playing Whoopi Goldberg. So stay.
Right,
if you
right,
She's
follow
like,
yeah,
that
what?
flow
She's like,
chart-
wait a minute, Whoopi? And she says, no, I'm God. Or something like that, right?
But because
Yes.
she sees God as Whoopi because she likes Whoopi.
Yeah.
So God.
Ha 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 ha, it's a joke. Ha 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 ha. Get it? She likes Whoopi.
I didn't get that.
There you
You're
go.
right. Oh,
See?
Whoopi.
See?
I have to go back to
There's
my,
a deep metaphorical meaning to
go
this
back
film,
to the
Mr.
80s.
Wolf.
You understand that?
I watched this whole
term.
scene just with like my mouth dropping. Really like.
And the effect was pretty bad too. It was like a really bad blue screen too.
I'm not
I mean,
really-
it's a romantic comedy, so I'm not really
I'm
going to
not ready
nitpick
for
the
effects.
special
I mean,
effects
it's
there,
It's a
but
comic book movie.
could you like have it be like in a coffee shop or something where everyone was wearing white or something? I mean, that would have been more effective.
Oh yeah, that would have helped. Yeah. Well, and then so now we're determining.
Well, they
I
had
was
to go
on
to
Facebook
heaven.
at this point. I don't know.
It had to be It had to be stereotypical heaven. It had to be cliche clouds and harp music playing
yeah.
and Whoopi Goldberg
So
basically.
God grants her 3 wishes.
Whoopi Goldberg sits
We
her
all know
down and
that
she says
old
she says
cliche.
why she says
God's
why
gonna grant me 3 wishes.
Right.
Yep. She says, why am I here? And she says, because I have to tell you that you're going to die. You're going to have you're going to wake up, you're going to find out you have inoperable cancer, but I'm going to grant you 3 wishes. What, is she trying to make her feel better? What, does God grant you 3 wishes when you're dying?
Isn't that a
Only
genie,
Whoopi
not
God.
God?
Yeah, I mean, is this like something like out of Aladdin, or I don't understand?
She just wants. She knows
I think
what.
it's just
She
something
knows
Whoopi
what
Goldberg
Kate
does.
Hudson needs, so she's kind of like, "I'll give you." She's hoping. She wants to give her what she needs. She hopes she realizes on her own.
Well, and she says like,
What? Tell me this.
Out of my romantic comedy, I watch a lot of these things, so I understand the inner workings of
what
them.
is happening over here?
I don't know what's happening on this side of the room. Andy just had a really weird, real moment.
This is
Well, wait, wait a
like
minute.
I think Andy just got a colonoscopy and it's coming out of his head. Wait, what just happened?
Wait,
this is the reawakening of Andy
her
Wolf
wishes
right
are-
here. We're getting
Yeah, her wishes are she wants.
fly,
Yeah, she wants to fly.
randomly.
$1
She says, "I want to
million,
fly." She wants $1 million.
which would only be $500,000 after tax.
They had to make sure they clarified
Yeah,
that.
God.
right.
Yeah, because God
then
doesn't
that's-
mess with
that's
the
that-
IRS.
She couldn't think of a third wish.
I thought that was the funniest joke. When Whoopi said something about the IRS.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the
Right?
grand scheme of
If,
things.
and now,
That was like
belly
the
laugher.
highlight of the.
That's a pretty-
the only thing that made me laugh a little.
and
I
that's
was like,
pretty bad because the only laughable joke in the film is a stereotypical, well, even God doesn't mess with the IRS.
Yeah. So she does these things. She shows up back on Earth. She has. That's where they tell her she has colon cancer, right?
Yeah, he
Well,
brings
you
her
don't
in
see
later.
her.
Well, God
Okay.
tells her, and then she finds out for real because it could have been a hallucination.
Okay, from her
and then
hot
she
doctor.
starts to believe the hallucination when the other doctor, the guy from Lost, comes in.
Yeah.
Oh, Charles Widmore.
Charles
comes in.
Widmore.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I forget the actor's name. I'm sorry, but another good actor that I
In
was like,
between
what?
trying to get back to the island, he's also a
Well,
doctor.
and the best part about this, if you're a fan of Lost, Charles Widmore is in this movie as like the supervising doctor, and he's playing Charles Widmore.
That's
And he
what I was
basically
saying,
points-
he's like the same character.
He's the same character. He is playing Charles Widmore.
Well, he didn't really
here.
do much either, though.
Well, he's a
No,
little more
the character was
sympathetic.
kinda like-
He's
yeah,
just
but-
like a professional doctor. He's the professional doctor where
He's a
young
professional doctor.
young
As
accented
opposed to the amateur
Dr.
doctors.
Julian, young accented Dr. Julian is like inappropriate with his
Now
patient.
wait, now Jack, why do you say he's the professional doctor? Because he's not an advocate of doctors sleeping with their patients?
Basically.
Yeah, okay.
Basically, that's my
Well, and we go on now. So Kate Hudson has colon cancer, and all of her reactions at this point to everything become like a 13-year-old drama queen. Like she's queer. I don't know who this. Like this was a script written. I read up on this. It wasn't written for her. She's clearly too old to be playing this part. I mean, this is a character that's clearly supposed to be in her like.
This would be like what, like a
Early
Rachel,
20s or
McAdams
something.
type character.
Yeah, like
mid-20s,
Rachel. I mean, Kate Hudson's in her mid-30s. Like she's much too old to be playing. I mean, they didn't even adjust the character for her. I don't think she's much too old for
I
it.
got the impression she was supposed to be like the youngest of their friends because they can't keep up with her. So I guess it does make sense when you think about
But
it.
she's like a mid-30s woman acting like she's like 19 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't buy anything Kate Hudson was doing all movie, so I don't know why I'm surprised I wasn't buying that. But
Right.
and her dad is played by Treat Williams, as we mentioned.
And
Yeah,
Kathy
Treat.
Bates is her mother.
Kathy Bates
Good
is her
casting.
mom.
So she decides she's going to tell her. She tells her friends that she has colon cancer, and she does it very nonchalantly at dinner,
Yeah, dinner, right.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't
which is
know-
one of
I
those
don't know if
depressing
anyone-
moments. I have colon cancer, and it's like crickets chirping, and I'm watching this
Well, I
movie,
don't
and I'm
know-
like, what? I thought this was a comedy. What?
Well, I don't know if anyone saw the trailer for this, but in the trailer, it's a different, I guess, a different take where she's like laughing and she's like, "Hi, I have cancer," and it's kind of like she kind of slips it in there.
Yeah.
Whereas this was much more serious in the actual film.
I envision they shot the whole movie that way. Like every scene, they were like,
Doing
"All right,
fine.
this one's funny. wait, this one's sad."
Serious, right.
And
We're
this
gonna
is
cut them
what
together.
sticks.
We're gonna.
This is by far, at least, maybe not of all the films I've ever seen, but of all the films we've ever done podcasts of, A Little Bit of Heaven is by far the most bipolar movie. This flirts with the two extremes. It's not funny when
Well,
it's
it's kinda
supposed to be
like-
funny,
yeah.
but it's trying. It's incredibly lighthearted and fun and yay! And then literally the next moment she's like throwing plates and I don't like you anymore and I'm dying of cancer. And then yay, it's funny, we're going shopping and we're buying shoes. And then it's like, I can't love you because I'm gonna die. And it's like,
Oh, it's all over. One.
it's a mess.
Well, for me, it felt like there was like
May I defend that?
sections.
Yeah, go ahead.
To me, it felt like
I mean,
there
I
was-
understand dramedy, but
There
they
were
got
very
it wrong.
structured sections to this movie where it was like, this section is her and the doctor, section is her and her friends, and then this section is her and her parents.
Right.
It was like very like, it wasn't like mixed in at all. It was just this and then this, and she finally makes up with her boyfriend, and then now she has to deal with her parents, and then now she has to deal with dying. It was just very.
That's what shocked me when I heard the
Stilted.
budget was $12.5 million, because I was like, when I was watching it, I was like, okay, clearly they brought like Kathy Bates in for like 4 days, but spread her scenes out through the movie. Like, because none of
This
these actors
is a
interact
low
with
cost
anybody
movie.
else.
I mean, it's practical locations. It's
Oh, that one park they shoot like half the film. Did anyone notice
Yeah.
that?
I didn't notice that.
There's a gazebo. Anytime they're outdoors,
they didn't
look
bother
for a
to-
gazebo in the
they
background.
didn't bother to redress it.
Yeah,
now-
like
now
half
it's a
the
zoo.
movie is in one park.
And it's
Let's move 20 feet this way.
It's also,
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't think about this until just now. Pardon me. I didn't think about this until just now. It's like always summertime in this movie. The seasons never change.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
there's never snow,
She's
right?
like 5 months of
It's like
cancer, and, yeah,
and it's all one. It's all just even, like
Well,
72 degrees and sunny.
It is New Orleans, so it's a little
Was it
warmer
I,
down
I
Was it
there.
guess so. I
Nolans?
guess so. I guess so.
Oh,
It's New Orleans.
No.
Is it New Orleans?
no,
They didn't throw in a cliche. They didn't
All right,
throw in a
hold on,
cliche
hold on.
Creole pronunciation.
That would be
That's one
New Orleans.
New Orleans, all right.
Yeah, you wouldn't. Oh my God, you are in prime form in this podcast. Wolf. So she's continuing to flirt with her hot doctor by saying things like, "How's it hanging?" when he meets, when she meets him, and things like that.
And
Trying
at
to-
first he seems to be resisting, but he has some sympathy for her. Like beyond just the doctor
Yeah,
feeling
yeah,
bad.
first
Like
he-
he's like, I think she needs a friend.
Or I
Beginning
think-
to flirt with that inappropriate line.
I think in the beginning he was like, I think she needs mental help. Like, he thinks she's crazy. And he like feels bad for her. And then he's like, somehow that pity is then turning into hot sex or something.
And at this point, we find the major plot point that he can't tell jokes well.
That's how they build up their rapport.
Yeah.
She starts
Actually,
to teach
I
him
think that's the plot point of every character.
because Dr. Julian Goldstein is apparently from like France or somewhere
Right,
because he's got
he's
this
a bad
crazy
joke teller.
accent
What
and he
do
kind
you
of
call-
gives you
What
jokes.
do you call a
He's a-
jazz
you
musician
didn't catch
without the
that line?
girlfriend?
Huh.
He doesn't have a home.
No, he's a Jewish man from
that one of
Mexico.
them?
He says
They
that.
actually said that.
I can't
Yeah,
I
remember.
rewound
when-
it to make sure
there's
I
like
got the
four
punchline right.
No, and when he first meets her, and he's like, "Oh, I'm Dr. Goldstein," but he's got this Mexican
Right.
accent. She's like, "You're Dr. Goldstein?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm Jewish, but I'm from Mexico."
Right.
That's why. That's his
Why not just call? Why just not give him the
'Cause it's funny, he's
Hispanic
Jewish
last
and from
name?
Mexico.
It's hilarious. I mean, that's so
I am so
funny.
confused.
Very funny.
Don't-
Very
yeah.
funny.
Wait,
That's
Don't you
hilarious.
understand dramedies?
He's going to defend it now.
Yeah, what is not funny about that? That's
You don't have to defend it, Andy. We're all defending
I
it.
was
It's
going to defend
hilarious.
something else, but you guys won't let me defend it, so I
Well,
forgot.
can we get
about
back
that.
to the plot now? She tells her parents
So you
that
just know
she's
it's
dying of
amazing.
colon cancer, and it's obvious that her parents don't get along, and her father, Treat Williams, is just like a businessman of some sort, so he's just never around.
Right.
Just
travel-
Now,
generic, yeah.
are her parents divorced?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you
Are we
watch
sure about
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Oh,
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
fighting.
okay.
I was too busy like, am I laughing or am I crying? What's going on here?
Wait, when were you laughing?
Yeah, you're busy with that?
or crying.
Okay, well let me rephrase that. Does this movie want me to laugh or does this movie want me to cry? Is what I was
Objective.
confused about.
Jack doesn't understand emotions.
What is this I'm feeling?
I love when the movie like wants to
tears of
make you
joy.
cry.
I can't win.
It wants to make you cry because there's a
Much
point
too
when
much
it's
Star
been
Trek.
like, because
much
Kate Hudson
data.
looks like Kate Hudson. They don't like make her look sick.
Her hair never falls
No,
out.
no,
She looks sick only
No,
at
there
the
was a
end
line-
does she start
At the
to
very
look.
end, yeah, they wrap her in
Speaking
a quilt.
of her hair falling out, because it's ridiculous that it doesn't, but there is a line, and it's like a looped line because it's off screen,
Yes, yes.
where she says, "Is my hair going to fall out?" And the director says, "No, your hair will be fine."
Yeah.
So-
That's
Oh,
why
Oh,
they-
because they
don't ever
forgot,
have
and
I
then
was
the
gonna say, they had
and
to
then in
address
post
that
they were
because
like,
It was
crap.
like an off-screen, like, just throwaway
Because
line.
in post they were like, holy
clearly
crap.
ADR.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Clearly
Yeah.
ADR.
They had to address that. There's no way you're going to have full head of hair.
At the end,
But
yeah.
in the like
The
the,
chemo,
bipolar
yeah.
nature of this movie, where it's like so laughy, and you can tell as you're making it, they were like, okay, we've got to get a scene in here where people are like, know that she's really sick. So they go to this sequence just so you know she really is sick, where they go to like blue lighting in all the scenes and like slow jazz music or blues music of her sitting in the back of like a blues club all by herself, just so you know, you're like, oh no, she really is sick. just you know, it's been all jokes and shenanigans up until this point, but she really is sick, audience. You know, just so no one forgets. And have we gotten to the point yet where she actually starts asking her doctor out on a date?
Yeah, this is
Well, that- they
this
meet
is
at the
it.
jazz club.
She meets him
Okay.
at the jazz club by coincidence, and she
Okay.
says, "Why don't you walk me home?" And they have a talk, and they do this little bit where he can't tell jokes, and then it was one of those, "Well, this is where I live." The longing look, bye, and she goes in, and it's obvious that she really likes him, and there's something more. Now, I also want to speak to the fact of these 3 wishes, because she
Sure.
wins a contest
One's already come true,
to
right?
fly a glider.
Right.
The first wish comes true. And because Whoopi was ambiguous about the 3rd wish, of course the wish is that she'll fall in
find
love.
love, right.
So obviously, because it's a romantic comedy, but also because it's cliche, we know that it's this doctor. Which is why they meet and they have this little scene. I just felt I needed to say that. I don't know why everybody's looking at me. Why?
Some guys who come in the third act. Like, she meets a
I thought
waiter.
she was going to end up with Whitmore.
That would
The
have
head doctor.
been a good movie.
Yeah, that would have been such a twist.
Well, because there's a scene where she finally asks out the hot doctor, and he's like, "I'm your doctor. I don't think that's a good idea." And she's like, "I'm really fun." And then he says, "How can I say no to that?" I don't know, like the most basic doctor oath, I think.
The Hippocratic Oath tells you no.
Yeah. Which,
Well, as long as you're fun.
It was too, I don't know. Number
As
two,
long
I
as
think
you
our
teach me
past
how to
one
tell
where
jokes.
she ends up finding out she can get the $1 million buyout.
Well, yeah, because she goes. She
Yes.
finally tells her
She
boss
tells
that she's
her
sick.
boss.
Yeah, so
And
she,
he tells
Steven
her,
Weber.
He tells her
Wait,
that there's.
is that does that even make sense?
No, I
does
was
that
wondering,
happen?
does-
no,
that
makes
doesn't.
no sense. That
because
makes
I was
no
like,
How does
really?
that-
So
Yeah.
if I get terminally ill, I can go to work and be like,
Well,
Give me 500
Yeah, they're
grand.
definitely
But
gonna give you.
Let's talk about this.
They're
Have you ever
definitely gonna
tried?
give you
yeah.
that.
How does she tell her boss that she's sick?
She draws a goofy card.
And what? They remember what the card says?
Yeah,
It says
Like,
roses
Something
are
like
red,
that.
violets are blue.
I'm
I
dying.
have
I
butt
have-
cancer.
And now you know too.
And now
Now
you
you know
too.
too.
Yeah.
Again,
The boss is like-
completely inappropriate to
Yeah.
tell your boss that you're dying in a Hallmark greeting card.
And I'm watching it, I'm like, is this funny? I don't, like, is this, I'm really at times trying to decide. I'm like, I don't know what this movie's trying to
See,
do.
this movie's toying with you.
Like, if it's
Walking
if
a
it's
fine line, Alex. It's walking a fine line.
No, it's fair because I'm like, I'm
like
looking at me
Nick
like,
Wallenda.
if this is supposed
The only
to be funny, it's failing.
The only thing that's
If-
sure about this movie is that it sucks.
Yeah, that's the only thing I was ever sure of. So
But
they
so-
go on.
so there is-
Fine line.
well, they then go on a
That
crazy
line leads
shopping
off
trip.
like a to a cliff
Because she
or
got the money,
spikes on it.
so now we're back in a happy scene where this happy music is playing, and I'm out with
they're
the
all
girls,
shopping,
and she's
yeah.
having
Right, 'cause
fun.
she's got
And,
the $500,000.
and then her one friend who's pregnant's like, I can't do this, I can't do this, and she leaves.
And this is also the scene where it's made very clear.
And then she
that
gets
the
into an
black
argument
guy is
with-
gay,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah.
didn't think was clear up until
No,
this
Until
point.
he, until he talks to the mannequin.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, he's like, "Oh, hello there."
Yeah, he's
So
like-
then
But
I-
he
thought it was
wasn't
pretty
really
clear.
a huge part of the movie up until that. Wasn't that like his second or third scene?
Yeah. what was
How
it?
many
Yeah.
other scenes
Yeah.
was
But
he
then
in?
they made that comment
there's, like,
later
two
in
more.
the movie where one of her friends is like, "Yeah, it's been a really tough time for him lately, so lay off." As if I guess like he was like kind of coming out in the
I don't-
span of the movie. I felt like it was trying to
Maybe.
do, and
Maybe it was
Maybe
happening
they were
in
trying to
real
show
time.
everyone's
Yeah.
lives were changing.
Yeah.
Maybe if this were a good movie, we would show her life standing still because she's sick and she's trying to chase the years of her life or whatever. And then like her friend has her kid, and even though she feels bad for her friend, her life's moving on. And this one guy's making this important life decision. You know what? I think I'm gay, and that's an important life decision. And her parents, she's seeing them drift further and further apart. In this movie, they don't do that. It's all just done through like just one lines of dialogue, or they
Zingers.
try to show it, or some bad inappropriate joke. It makes no sense, and they didn't follow any of this through.
And she eventually throws the shopping trip shenanigans and
ends in
hijinks
disaster.
ends in disaster when out of nowhere Kate Hudson throws a bizarre tantrum that makes no sense.
But her
Yeah,
mother was
right,
like a likable. Her mother wasn't overbearing. or
Kathy
anything,
Bates
she's-
is one. Yeah.
She's
No.
like just going off on her mother for no reason. And
Yeah, her mom, like, you can. The movie is so clumsy. You can tell they just need to change direction. So Kathy Bates is like, "Hey, this dress
In the
would
middle
look,
of the scene,
look good
they-
on you," and then they
yeah.
just turn it on a dime.
Right.
Like she just freaks out and like just so they can get out of it, just to get out of a scene, basically.
how the heck do we get out of this scene?
Yeah, have her
Have her
freak
fling
out.
hangers.
Yeah.
Now, at this point, Caitlin, are you still awake?
Yes, I'm
Okay,
awake
good.
for this.
Okay,
part.
well,
I
so
was
you
drifting
woke
off. Like
up.
I don't remember the goodbye scene at her house with the hot doctor, so I might have been a little bit asleep during that. I was in and out throughout the
Okay.
movie.
Okay.
But then you heard shopping trip and woke up.
Woo! Then I woke up. I'm
you-
back in it.
Yeah, fully invested.
Were you awake for the little bit of heaven scene? For the scene where
The
the,
scene-
movie's
here we go.
title comes from?
Here we
No,
go.
I don't
Which-
know.
Here
Here we
I
go.
don't
If
know.
you don't know
It's
the
not
answer
coming
to that,
now,
then
is
you
it?
are most
Yeah.
definitely
I don't know.
asleep.
Oh, is it
I don't
coming
know
up now?
why.
Yeah.
How the movie gets its title
So
from this scene.
yeah. Well, I'll let you guys
Well,
explain it.
first
comes up
up,
now.
the I don't remember the exact structure of the movie, but it's somewhere in here.
I feel like there are a lot of
There's
great
a-
scenes still to talk about.
Where she
before
almost
that,
got
but
hit.
I
Yeah,
guess-
where she almost got hit by the car.
Well, wait a minute.
That's
Yeah,
later.
she,
That's way
yep,
later.
that is that's
Oh,
way
way
later.
Way later.
Okay,
She
go
seems
ahead.
to go through the stages of accepting death in an odd backwards order. You know how they say the stages that you go through? She seems to go through them. Like, she hits anger, like, at number 5, when anger is usually, like, number 1 or 2. It really is kind of bizarre.
But
Oh my
so
God, I didn't even think of that.
Something
Jack.
tells me they weren't thinking of that.
Jack looks
Yeah.
way too far. in
Yeah,
the-
I do. I try.
Yeah,
I
Jack,
do.
Jack is always the one that gives these movies like a benefit of a doubt. Yeah.
But so
Okay.
her black gay friend is over to her apartment and they're talking. She's feeling sick. She's upset, and he says something along the lines of, "Oh, I'm gonna bring you a little Italian later. So when the doorbell rings, answer it." And of course, this leads to cut to the next scene where the doorbell rings. She opens the door and it's a dwarf who
Little
says,
person.
"My name is Vinny."
Make sure you get it right.
Yeah.
What?
Little
Oh,
person.
Little
oh,
person.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Little person.
Yeah.
Don't
Okay.
offend anyone.
Jamie
We need those
Lee
ratings
Curtis.
and
Yeah.
iTunes.
My name is Vinny. He's a little Italian. It's hilarious.
I mean, first of
And
all,
he calls
It's
himself.
hilarious.
What
And he
the-
calls
what the
himself.
hell?
He calls himself. He calls himself. They call me a little bit of heaven.
Oh, I
Yeah, that's
remember
right.
Yeah,
that.
right, yeah,
I
I remember that,
remember
yeah.
that.
I mean, and I'm not easily offended, but like, and Peter Dinklage, by the way, plays this character.
I
He's-
didn't realize it was him.
You know, and it's got to be offending. I mean, wait, this is a practical joke to send a little person escort to your friend. I mean, really disturbing.
Yeah, I thought I missed something, and I didn't have Andy's initiative to rewind and see if I did miss something.
Have-
Again,
remote right
again,
there.
again,
Yeah.
again. The film doesn't know what tone it is. It really doesn't.
That's what
No.
that's what you do to cheer up your friend who has cancer who's dying. Send her
That's
a
what it
little
is.
person gigolo.
Well, this guy, well, this guy ends up being like really kind of cool, and he kind of like talks to her, and they like play chess, and they don't get it on at all. They have like meaningful conversation, and
And
Imagine how badly that little person must have felt if he had known like her history of sleeping with people, where she like basically would get with anything that moves. Like he would have felt really bad about
Yeah,
himself.
Yeah.
she turned
He
he
him
would
down.
have
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
And we should know Peter Dinklage is a fantastic.
Yeah, he did a
actor.
good job,
I mean,
actually.
he's really. I mean, in a, again, terribly written scene. He's almost saving it just in his
Well,
performance.
he was the one character. It was his character and the dog are the only two characters in this movie who I liked.
I would agree.
Can't forget the dog.
Oh,
What was
I
it?
like the dog.
What,
I would agree.
what was
The
the
dog
dog's
was good.
name?
Yeah.
It was like Stewart or Stanley
Stumpy?
or something.
Stanley, I think it was
Stanley,
Stanley.
yeah.
And I really.
Oh yeah, and also,
can't-
by the way, to mess with her black friend when he comes back later on,
They pretend, yeah.
they're having sex by making loud, obnoxious sex noises and banging on the wall.
And we can't stress this.
And then he
enough.
says, "It was nice to meet you," and she says, "It was nice to meet you too," and he leaves, and he's out of the movie.
And I really can't stress this enough that the title of the movie comes from Peter Dinklage describing his own genitalia. That's where the title of the movie comes from. If you
Such
think
a great
about it,
and
think about
significant
it.
scene to
Yeah.
have the movie be named after.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. Is this scene supposed to be like a turning point? Is that why? Maybe like this.
Well,
Maybe
Apparently
because she
not,
doesn't
'cause
have
things
sex with
got-
him.
Yeah, and he kind of convinces her like, oh, so if sometimes you give a guy half a chance, he'll be, maybe that's why because then
Oh, well,
she decides to
because
give the doctor a chance.
Oh.
She
Like,
took
I
a
don't know what
chance.
it
She
was.
took a chance on him. She could have said either A, well, all right, I'm looking to get laid. Let's get laid and not think about it. Or B, she could have been like, again, no offense to little people, but she could have been like, get the hell out of here, you little twerp. But she didn't.
Wow.
No, I'm dead serious.
Just because you say no offense.
I am
It's not offensive.
I am dead serious. No, I'm dead
I
serious.
just called him a twerp.
He
Yeah.
could
You
have.
have to
He.
say little.
she-
No, just the little people, but get out of here, you little person.
Hang on, let me finish my thought. She could have been cruel to him because of his size. She could have been the way she has been
Now,
for
when
the
you
rest
say
of the movie.
size-
Right, let's just like
She
that
could have
one.
been cruel to him the way she was to the other guys in the movie, in that she didn't care about their emotions and all she cared about was sex. But instead, she gave him a chance and found out he was actually a really nice, intelligent person. He was a good friend, and he offered her the support that she needed in that moment.
Right.
I didn't mean to say anything bad about little people, guys. It's
Right.
just that she could have said something cruel like
Well,
that.
because he also said he had he almost died. He had an out-of-body experience, just like floating on water.
So I think that's why that
Yeah,
line,
so-
see what happens when you give people a chance.
So
But at the same
No,
time,
I'm just
now
trying to
she
figure out
could
why
get-
it ties into the title of the film, like what
Oh, it
the
doesn't?
I think it does.
significance is.
Oh,
And
It
again-
doesn't.
I think
and
it has
again,
to, though.
Don't worry, we've got a fantastic game of So Wrong It's Right
God.
coming up that might involve this film's title.
I think the secondary title was Butt Cancer and Sex, but they pick a little bit of it.
It could have. We then go. The hot doctor invites Kate Hudson to go to this charity party
Benefit for
benefit
patients.
with him.
It's
Right,
right,
right.
formal, although everyone's in a
and she wasn't
tuxedo.
going to, but after talking to the little person, she
She
decided
decides
not.
to go. She
Right.
decides to go. Where
Well, I didn't
where-
realize how much this little person really changed the tide of the movie.
Yeah.
It really did. Well,
pivotal.
and
Pivotal.
he's the only good character in the movie. So
he is the only. Well, and supervising.
seriously, he is.
Supervising Dr. Charles Widmore is also at this party, who is basically goes up to Hot Doctor and is like,
Don't do
hello.
Why do you,
Dumbass.
Basically is like, just checking, are you a professional? But he does it in a cool way where if you're a Lost fan, this is totally like
Yeah.
unused dialogue
Penny
from him trying to
and-
keep
yeah.
Penny and Desmond
Yeah,
apart.
yeah.
It's,
Yeah,
if you watch
Sorry,
Lost.
this
All right,
follow
yeah,
Lost
we
fans out
just jumped into some
Yeah.
whole other podcast.
Got really excited.
At which point, like, Hot Doctor is like,
stop
screw it. So he like decides to
you want to
keep-
get out of here?
yeah, want to get out of here. So he's going now
Then
dating his patient.
Right, then they go to some wacky ass dance club, right? Don't they
What-
leave and go to some
What
wacky
made
ass
it
dance
wacky,
club?
Andy? What made it wacky?
We'll just let that go. It was
Okay.
wacky.
Oh, really? All
It
right.
was wacky.
Okay.
Where the doctor's obviously like, what the frick did I just walk into here?
Uh-huh.
Enough said.
Should we just let this sit for a minute?
Transvestite
No?
makes it.
He was uncomfortable. He was expressing my emotions at that point. A little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So-
Got into the car.
So you
Yeah,
rewound
yeah,
it.
was
Watch it
this-
again.
was
I
this-
rewound it a couple times, but
Yeah, is this his baggage or your baggage that's coming up right now?
This is why Andy likes this
Maybe
movie
I just-
so much. He identifies.
I identify with the character for a second there. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. So they go to this funky transvestite club, and we learn that
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh.
And Hot Doctor, he can get down. He likes to
Yeah,
dance.
he was really going at it.
And we should bring this up. Brian and I were talking about this before the movie. This is the second movie we've seen recently where a movie has had to work so hard to hide how short its main actor is. This movie is working in the blocking, in the angles, and everything. It's clear the Hot Doctor character. That guy can't be much taller.
Yeah,
than
So basically,
5'6".
this is like Al Pacino in 88 Minutes.
It is.
He's probably 5'5" or 5'6".
5'6". They're always staging.
Kate
it,
Hudson's
so
like,
he's
what,
on the
5'9"?
closer side. At one
Ah,
point,
that's
Ryan
like
took
5'6".
measurements and did
Oh.
scales. And
Yeah, I have.
formulas.
Yeah, I have life-size wax figures of all of them.
I was watching this with Stephanie, and Stephanie said, because we were watching on a plane, and she points out one time, she's like, he's wearing like 4-inch heels. Like you can see them. They're like platform shoes in a walking scene.
No way.
Yeah, I mean, they
Oh
are,
my
I didn't
God.
even notice
they
that.
are
Neither
really
did I.
working in this movie to hide how short it. Because you can see that he's in some moments you can see he's shorter than Kate
Yeah, he's
Hudson,
tiny.
and Kate Hudson's not tall. So, just a funny little. Oh, by the way, and as if I wasn't annoyed enough at hipster culture. Oh God, the Hot Doctor has a vintage yo-yo collection. Which, had we not been on a plane, I probably would have just given up on this movie at that point. Vintage.
And he's not even good with the yo-yo when he's trying to do the tricks.
No,
he's
he's
like keeps
terrible.
messing them up. It's like, how do you have a yo-yo collection and not even be able to operate it?
Yeah, a vintage yo-yo collection.
Yeah, vintage at that.
And I don't know where we are. If somebody is this where Kate Hudson starts melting down? Like
She
where
does
she-
melt down at random. She starts
and the
screaming and yelling
the
at
doctor
every
and
one of her
have
friends.
relations, and then,
Well, she decided to stop taking her treatment, which was some not experimental, but a trial.
Oh, her
Wait,
controversial.
and there's
Dharma
no
Initiative
explanation
treatment.
why.
And there's
Yeah,
no
she's right.
and there's no explanation why she
So-
even started in the first place.
Well, at this point, she stopped taking the treatment. She's realized she's gonna die, so she becomes more agitated, more sort of.
Right.
Upset.
Alienated her
More
friends.
agitated, yeah.
So yeah, this
That's
is where
one way
That's
to
a
put it.
nice way to say.
this is where she starts freaking out.
She
and
goes on her
alienating
freaking
friends.
General Sherman's March to the Sea, taking down everyone in her path.
Yeah, she just goes angry, crazy, like
Yeah.
everyone in the movie. And then, so she starts attacking her hot boy or her hot doctor boyfriend, yelling at him. Is it normal for doctors to screw their patients? If I was
This
him,
is
I'd
at
be
a
like,
zoo,
whoa,
too.
whoa, you're the one who got me into this mess.
Listen, slut.
This was at a zoo too, I think. They were with the little girl at a zoo.
Yeah.
And this is what she's yelling at.
Oh
them.
yeah, and may I just say right now that there is a distinct and there's a central scene where it's the most important scene in the whole movie. An orangutan just goes number one, and the little girl's like, "Ew, he's peeing!" And then it cuts to a wide shot, and sure enough, that ape is peeing, and it's just all over the place, and it's right in shot, and it's like, why am I seeing this?
I think they were looking for jokes.
It was this
anyway.
again? The tone,
Yeah.
the tone.
Yeah.
They just needed
We
like.
got potty humor and
Yeah.
then a powerful "I love you" and you're dying scene.
Yeah.
It's like what?
There's just so many like jokey jokes in this movie. Like just insert generic joke here. Anywhere we can get a laugh, let's go for it, or try to get a laugh because they don't
Right,
actually
right.
get a laugh.
Right.
Yeah, very wrong.
It tries to make you laugh and it tries to make you cry. It succeeds at neither and just makes
Gosh
you
darn it,
depressed.
does it work on both
We should.
levels.
I'm gonna
Nobody
mention-
teared up in the end.
It leaves you hollow. This
no,
movie.
No.
Honestly, the only part that had
Leaves
any
you hollow like
emotion-
the characters.
The only part that had any
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything.
The only part I had any emotion when she was trying to figure out what to do with her dog. Because again, the dog was.
Look, what the dog do? Yeah, the dog is.
When she's like, oh, I don't know who's going to take care of my dog. That was like, okay. But when she's dying and stuff, I didn't care.
Can we talk about the hang gliding scene for a minute
Well,
here?
That seemed out of the blue,
Oh, is that
right?
Yeah,
So
that's
wait.
just
Now,
before
can
Okay.
I'm just gonna complain about this. She wishes to fly. It's her first wish to whoopee God. Then she gets the money, right? So she spends the money. She wins the glider lessons. Then she gets the money. She spends the money, and it's like the writers forgot about the hang gliding scene. And we're like, oh crap, she always wanted to fly. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? What are we
No,
gonna do?
I-
Bonding romantic date.
Yeah.
They
Way
go
at the end.
gliding.
That's the way at the end.
They saved it for the end of the movie.
You wait till
But it was like
she's
the
got
first
somebody
wish.
Because she was dying
somebody
and she wanted
right.
to, yeah.
You
Just
gotta
fit
wait
the
till
way at the end.
she
Anyway.
shares it with someone she loves.
Okay, I understand that and I appreciate that, but I don't know. It just seemed odd to me that they were out of order and that she used them. I don't know.
Right,
Maybe
because
I'm
that was the first
nitpicking.
wish. You should have used that first. And the
I'm,
second
I'm
one she-
nitpicking. I'm nitpicking.
My
She
notes
won
went
the
really
first
downhill at this point because I was on a plane and at this point I just wrote down this is the worst. And I pretty much stopped taking notes. I couldn't.
Well, she
I
goes
don't-
friend by friend, basically telling everyone how much they suck.
Yeah,
She
right.
alienates her best friend. She
Right, her
alienates
best friend. She says,
gay
"Oh,
black
you're
friend.
worried I'm going to die now. You won't have a babysitter." I'm like, yeah, it's That's making me like the character more.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
be a total bitch to everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she's
Yeah.
such an
Great,
unlikable character as it is.
Right, yeah.
Like, this isn't a twist where you're like, oh, this character I've liked for an hour. I'm now... No, I mean, she's
But
already...
unlikable the whole
It
time.
does kind of go into it.
So she does
Yeah.
all this, alienates all her friends, and then she gets drunk and riding a bicycle down the street.
Which is super healthy when you have cancer.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, just keep drinking.
Yeah, it's
That's
just-
good for you.
But
Her stupid vintage bicycle.
yeah, there's a shot of her drunkenly driving down the road, and in the
Hipsters.
car she's going heading right for a car,
And then
and then it cuts to her, and she's in heaven again, and she's
Yeah.
talking to Whoopi again,
Yeah.
and it's where Whoopi convinces her that
she has love.
she loves the doctor,
And she has reason to live even though it's only 2 more weeks.
yeah, and that she didn't actually get hit by the car, so she's still alive.
So-
which I don't understand why she's
Exactly.
But,
Which is also stupid.
Yeah.
but,
So at this point, it all turns around and she's happy again, and she wants to go, tell the doctor she loves him. And I looked at the time on this, and there was still like half an hour left. And I was like, oh wait, this should be the end of the movie. Now she loves the guy, but I realized, like I said, there's sections of this movie, so that this section was gonna be over. She's gonna confess her love to the doctor, and then there's gonna go
Work
to
on the
another,
parents and
another
work on the
section,
friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just glued
So
together.
so she goes to the doctor, tells him she loves him, whatever. And then she starts going around to all her friends and trying to make amends.
And that one friend was a real asshole.
Didn't
That
answer
best
the
friend,
door,
she didn't
yeah.
answer the
Didn't answer
door
the
when she's
door and-
apologizing, and she never saw her again.
Never saw her again. Yeah.
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 Yeah. I
Such
would.
assholes in this
Yeah.
movie.
This is really the worst. I have so little.
But that's supposed to make you be like, why didn't you answer the door? It was your last chance. But they failed at it.
because they just drag this out. Like, she's dying. Like, clearly they're trying to tell us she's dying a slow, painful, but it's a movie, so incredibly beautiful death.
Right.
Like,
Right.
like
She's at her bed all her family's visiting.
Her hair looks fantastic.
Beautiful hair.
Yeah, her makeup is even.
Yeah,
I mean,
'cause
all they
earlier in the
basically do
movie-
is do less makeup as.
Oh, and she also makes amends with her
Early-
father too.
Earlier in the movie, when she's at a cancer clinic, there was an actual, like, someone else with cancer there, and they look like an actual cancer patient.
Yeah.
Their hair is gone, they're really gaunt and sickly.
Yeah.
But when she has it, again, her full, beautiful blonde hair, and she's absolutely fine. Her eyes are a little dark. That's really about it.
That's it. Yeah.
And her mother says at
It's
one
not
point,
like side
"Oh, your
effects.
clothes are getting baggy." That was.
Which they're not, by the way.
Yeah, so dumb. So and I'm actually. Well,
And was that clothes getting baggy line like looped in post? You
No,
think?
no.
Oh, it was
That
on
was in
screen. Okay.
I think that was.
shopping when they're
yeah.
shopping. She said, "Yeah, that's why the whole fight."
Oh, okay.
So where are we now getting to the hang gliding scene?
Yeah, she makes amends with all her friends.
Yeah, it's nothing to even
She
talk
makes
about
amends
there,
with her
really.
parents.
It's just sort of a generic.
It's all generic and blah. She made up with
Yeah,
everybody.
she makes
Well,
up with her
she
father.
basically
Continue.
created. I mean, it's lazy storytelling. She creates a fight with her friends and then immediately makes up with
Right,
them.
right.
But she does each one individually, so it takes like 20
Right.
minutes.
That's
Right.
if you're
Well,
watching the movie-
she alienated everyone individually. It's like, oh, now we have to wait through.
Yeah,
for
just
the
fast
apology
forward
to
through the
everyone.
part.
Then
Fast
she
forward
makes
through-
she makes amends with her father in like 2 minutes. Her mother, she tells her she loves her, and then I think
Then they're hang gliding.
Hang gliding, which
Which is a lighthearted scene after those touching scenes again.
lighthearted and makes the special
my-
effects in
Oh,
Superman
God.
4
Well,
look good.
again,
Yes, they were like,
a romantic
Yeah.
comedy. You're not going to put too much money in special effects.
Look at the insert.
but when you have only
I
two,
know.
when you have only
I know.
3 effect shots in the whole movie, you'd think you'd have a little bit better
You
than
could at
that.
least. Well, the
That was like
insert-
Photoshop.
Yeah. I mean, actually, Kate Hudson's insert shots aren't terrible. Look at the shots of the hot dog. It's clear he's not moving at all. Like, it's just an insert
hair isn't
shot of
even
him,
moving.
like on a motionless hang glider on like a studio. Like he's not moving
Yeah.
at all.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah. Terrible.
So then things go downhill from there.
So now we're at
Things
the
have
point
been
where,
going down.
like she's
You know,
laying
Things
in,
have been going down.
Things went downhill since
Now
the
they-
startup
now they
menu.
accelerate.
And
That's
we're not
amazing.
talking about the hang
saying.
gliding.
she's laying in bed. Everybody comes over and reads to her, and she's dying, and you know.
Well, no, there's the part at the park, right?
Well, that's
Isn't
at the
that
end.
before?
Well, it's
yeah.
coming up to that, yeah.
And then she
I mean,
says she left. She tried to call him. She calls the doctor, but leaves a message.
But yeah, they're at the park, and she's just wrapped in a blanket with her friend,
He's gonna start tearing up here.
and it's, I'm okay. I'm okay. Thanks, I appreciate that. And then she's wrapped in the blanket, and their friend has some of the worst freaking acting I've ever seen of a sad person,
Right.
asking God to,
The smarmy friend.
yeah, and smarmy like, oh God, don't take
Smarmy's
her.
now sad.
Blah, 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 blah. And then she just kind of drifts off to sleep.
Yeah,
And
when at
at
this
this
point you're
point-
like, did she die?
Yeah, I didn't
did
know.
she just
I didn't know
die?
for like 10
So
minutes. What she
confused.
was
Or-
saying.
Yeah.
And at
Well, I
this
didn't
point,
think she died
and
because you
again-
could still see her breathing.
Right, so like she
Yeah.
just instantly took a nap.
Yeah,
Like what?
and at this
I
point,
don't
I'm
get
like,
how.
That's what happens when
You
you die.
just-
You just sleep
Well, I was
with
gonna
it.
say,
Just took a little snooze.
I know it's a romantic comedy thing, but it's like I know people who died of cancer, and it wasn't. We weren't sitting in the park,
Right.
No.
and they just kind of went to sleep and said, "Oh, look, they're so cute."
And then you called the ambulance.
Yeah, it's like no, it wasn't like that at all.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, I mean,
The
I know.
concept of hospice care is not
Right,
covered in
right,
this movie
right.
at all.
Right. So the ambulance
didn't
goes to the
spend-
hospital, and they're trying to text a, I won't call him hot doctor because I'll say mediocre looking guy.
Oh wow, that was a real shot.
And
Zing.
He's
It's
not
just because
Dr.
he's a
High.
Mexican Jew.
and he's swimming.
Yeah.
And he's swimming, so of course he doesn't get the text. So is he going to make it there
The
in time
doctors
before she
always
dies?
swim in movies. Can we just?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that
Some of
always
them.
what's the
Swimming
doctors?
movies.
Yeah, why is he swimming?
Yeah.
Keep him
Yeah,
safe.
it's like the
Because it's a metaphor for the, I don't know, like
okay.
cleaning himself, second chance, like a
No,
baptism,
okay.
a birth, a
He was
renewal.
He was
No,
swimming
no, no,
because
no.
you can't have your cell phone on you when you're swimming.
Right.
So
Oh,
he
yeah.
couldn't get
Yeah.
the phone call.
I'm gonna
Everything
defer. I'm gonna defer to the
He was
opinion of
He
So
Cody
it's
Wolf
like,
here.
hey, dying girlfriend, what are you doing today? I'm going to go to the park with my
Yeah.
friend.
I'm gonna go for a
I'm
swim.
gonna
go
go
for
some
a swim.
swimming, and
I can tell you why
I'll
they
see you
had
later.
I won't be available by cell phone.
I'll call you tonight.
They had to have him swim because they had to give him a short person sport to do. It was either gymnastics or
And they
swimming.
had to get his. They had to get his shirt off.
riding a
For
horse.
the,
That'd have been
they
much
had to
more
get his shirt off for the women in the audience.
Parallel
That
bars
was
when
it.
the phone rang.
Yeah.
So everybody's
He's doing the
everybody's
balance beam.
bedside with her, waiting for the mediocre looking doctor to come.
Did you just call him
Mediocre doctor.
Mediocre
Now you're
looking
questioning
doctor.
his
You,
doctor.
what did this guy do to you, man? You totally
And
trashed
He's been
him.
calling him hot doctor the whole time. He's not hot. Even Caitlin said
He's
that.
not
He's
hot.
good looking.
So
Okay, then what are we gonna call him then?
So-
And if
Maybe
he's
the next
Can we
he's
say
short
handsome?
in real life, then he's really not hot.
That's
Can we
right.
say handsome doctor?
I was hoping.
Okay, we can't all control our height, Caitlin. I'm sorry.
He's gonna be the next Zorro, by the way.
And I was hoping that they wouldn't go the route of them bedside being all sad. I thought,
At this
let's,
point, I still
Of
don't know
course.
she was
let's
dead.
just do a
Lord
positive note
willing
thing. Just
to.
have it fade to white and she's in heaven. Just do something simple. And
Really, you didn't want 10
I didn't want
minutes of them sitting at her
I didn't want
bedside?
them to really rip my
Yeah.
heart out and my
Oh.
heartstrings and play
wanna
my
relive-
emotions the way
Really
they did.
tugging on
They
them
pulled
right now.
they played my emotions. I don't appreciate.
I was too
that.
busy just looking at the clock.
So it's
So
been,
time in
it's
this
about
thing.
10 minutes of her family
Yes,
and friends
yes.
sitting
And for
around.
about,
her
like I
bedside.
said, for about 7 or 8, I didn't know whether she was dead or not because she's laying in bed.
Well, I thought she
Right?
died in the
Yeah, me
park.
too.
Well,
I
yeah.
thought
died,
she was
yeah.
dead in the bed, and then they're all coming to say their goodbyes. You know, she's already dead. But then she opens her eyes, and the doctor's talking to her. I'm like, oh, she's still alive.
Yeah.
And then
So-
she
It's
died.
Kind of
Mediocre
negated the
looking
last.
doctor,
She
he
sent
gets there.
the message to him, and I thought that was going to be her last communication with him.
And once the
that
mediocre
would've been
doctor
better.
gets there,
No, it was though.
she sees him for the last breath because she got her love and passes off, and they're all sad. And the baby's born at the same time.
That was the cliche I did not
Circle
want
of
to see
life.
at
It
the beginning of
continues
the movie.
on.
Yeah,
Thank
and then
God.
that's so
I
random
was like,
because we
don't do
hadn't
that,
seen
please.
those people
They
in
planned
like
that.
Right, they're-
forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like I said in the beginning, I was hoping they wouldn't go that cliche, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
no, they did.
So,
Please.
and then we go to, they have a funeral for her, but it's like a
The
funeral.
party that she's
Woo!
been that she's been
Funeral.
that she's been
That's what she literally says. That's the line in the movie. I want to put the fun in funeral.
Because
Yeah.
she's
And
been
isn't that
planning
like a
this
New
funeral
Orleans
for,
thing
like-
anyway? And they just didn't get into it, like the
I didn't know
Creole.
this
You
movie
have a
took place
party.
in New Orleans.
I didn't know it was.
Neither
there.
did I.
Wow.
Believe it or not, until that scene,
But
where
it
they
makes
were like,
sense now because it is more of a.
at the end of the movie, I said,
Yeah.
"Wait a minute, is this
Well,
New
they did
Orleans?"
play
Because I remember
New
hearing
Orleans
that you have a
music
party
at
at
the
a.
beginning, and
You have a party, yeah. At the menu screen, they were. They were playing the Saints Come Marching
I thought
In.
the
every
French
Kate Hudson
Quarter is
movie's
kind
in
of
New
recognizable.
Orleans.
They do shoot a scene in the French, but again, even the funeral at the end, back to that same
Yeah, it's
park
the park,
where we've
yeah.
spent the whole.
Wouldn't it make more
movie.
sense then that the doctor was just like a Creole, so he had like an accent and a kind of an
Are we
exotic
talking about
name?
what you're making?
I don't know. He's from the
They
the
weren't
French.
thinking about anything when
Yeah.
they made this movie.
Well, this movie also was not written to be in New Orleans. It was written to be in L.A. Then they moved it to Chicago, and we're going to shoot in Toronto.
Which they often do, actually.
And then they, while they were in pre-production, just randomly moved it to New Orleans because it was going to be cheaper to shoot in New Orleans. So New Orleans was like shoehorned into this movie. It was not.
it played such a big part in the film.
Right, right.
It's a good move.
And that's pretty much
But
it.
as
right?
well as the funeral was going on, you could see her and Whoopi on the other side of the pond.
Right.
Dancing.
Yeah.
She's dancing, and then she sits down next to.
She's
God,
dancing in her own
Whoopi,
funeral.
Yeah.
and that's where it fades to.
Well, at least they ended on a positive thing.
Yeah.
I'm definitely
How are you
gonna say
defending?
Now wait a minute. This movie
It's just like
also.
it
Oh,
felt-
I mean, I thought that was one of the better scenes when she was like
Yeah, it's like
dancing.
at least it's
Yeah.
like it ends up on a.
Well, I liked
Beat
it. I liked
moment.
it, but
Well, this
the movie
also
was
means-
so bad. It was just like okay.
This also
I
means
just
that
didn't
Whoopi
care.
Goldberg is God, and it wasn't just a hallucination.
Well, you're right. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah.
Which is the most disturbing concept in the film. I will say this: that last scene was not the worst thing. I mean, the movie. It was the rest of the movie that was so terrible.
No, the end cap was
It
nice,
was at
but
least
you
a
would
little
have.
visual.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's it. I'm gonna go. We have two little segments we always do. First one I'm gonna do are the contrary reviews. We did not like this movie. Well, Andy Wolf.
Yeah, let's not.
I did not hate it.
Okay, Andy Wolf did not hate
Andy
it.
may or may not have cried.
I think
at
the
end.
rest of us pretty much.
I think I
did
teared
hate
up
it.
when she's dying. I liked Goldie Hawn in that movie.
Goldie Hawn.
Are
Are you serious?
I knew that joke was coming in. I knew that one was coming. If you're on our Facebook page, you knew that joke was coming. Our Facebook page, by the way, is Stop the Movie.
Wait, what happened on the Facebook
I
page?
just put stuff about Goldie Hawn.
Kept calling her Goldie Hawn.
On purpose?
Yeah, I'm just joking.
All right, let's.
I didn't know what the neutron
When
was.
Dolph Lundgren died, my heartstrings were really.
That's a really good joke. It's right in line with this movie.
I'm gonna give two contrary reviews.
I don't know if it was a slam or what.
That was below the belt, Caitlin. No.
When I laugh,
At the last scene.
when I laugh, I tear up. My God. I'm allergic to cats.
The
But
movie made him laugh and cry.
This film really did achieve its goal.
when
I'm
I laugh,
wrong.
I get red and I tear up a lot.
Oh.
It's not. I'm not crying, please.
All right.
Let me
Well,
wipe my
okay.
tears off.
your eyes with your shirt.
while Andy deals with the salty tears he's pouring out of him right now,
This movie just.
let me read two opposing reviews from IMDb. The first one is from IMDb user Grady Harp, and his
good.
review of
That's
Little
good
Bit
work.
of Heaven
Grady.
says, two young women, writer Gren Wells and director Nicole Castle, make a solid impression with this little film that explores human relationships from family to friends
To
to
sluts.
lovers in a manner that makes us look
doesn't.
to either side of ourselves. Makes us look to either side of ourselves.
Well, happy and
Right,
sad.
right, and
The only
okay,
two parts of this movie.
Okay, and appreciate
Wait,
what we
both
have.
sides of it.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is a little bit of a fluff movie until the latter half, but is populated with some very fine performances that make us appreciate that fine line between comedy and tragedy.
Such a
Realizing
fine line.
That's actually
Right,
exactly what
right.
Andy said.
Yeah.
Sad.
Said it.
What are you? What is this guy's name?
Grady Hart.
Otherwise known as Andy.
No,
Wolf.
I don't.
Little alias action going on here? Okay. Alright.
And there's one other review I'll pull from a reviewer named Dwayne.
Just Dwayne.
Love Dwayne. I think we've had him on the show before.
We may have had his reviews before.
Yeah.
This is another great review. For the reviewers who gave this anything less than a 6 minimum, but then rate the other guys a perfect 10,
Oh my.
shows they are just shallow.
Wait, what?
He's upset that people like
Yeah, but
the other guys
where did
and
he
don't
pull
like
the other
this.
guy? What correlation did that?
Well, I'm not sure. Well, let him explain.
Okay, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Dwayne. I was unfair to you.
I am a father of 4 daughters and can't imagine what it would be like to go through something like this. I would recommend this movie to all.
So
It wouldn't be like.
So wait a
that,
minute,
by
having
the way.
4 daughters immediately makes dealing with cancer death in the family worse than it would for anybody else?
Imagining his daughter dying, I would imagine. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that
think
would
so.
that would
Yeah,
be
but
terrible.
It would be
but
nothing like this movie, though.
Yeah. Well,
Dwayne, call into the show. Tell us what you mean.
Well, let me give you the rest of his review because
All right,
this
yeah,
is
go.
going to be. Andy will appreciate this.
No, Andy's gonna tear up again.
I would recommend this movie to all, minus the men who think they are too cool or tough to show a little emotion.
Oh.
That's not Andy.
As
Showed
this
emotion, it was
movie,
just anger, that's
as
all.
this movie, in my opinion, will bring tears to anyone.
tears of
See, so I
frustration.
feel so bad now.
Tears of frustration.
I've
man.
been redeemed.
Yeah.
I
Did I say-
actually
did I
now
say
I'm thinking
tears-
Andy's alias is Dwayne.
Did that say tears to anyone or tears to Andy Wolf?
This movie did get a whopping 2% on Rotten Tomatoes. 2%
Wow.
positive.
Did
Whopping.
wait a minute? How many? What was the percentage on the Wicker Man? Do you remember?
There's
It's
one,
much
wasn't it?
high. I think the Wicker Man is higher.
higher?
than that.
Wow.
I think it was
There you
5%.
go. There you go, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen.
Wicker Man
There
was
you
much
go.
more entertaining.
Yeah. Now, our next segment, and Caitlin will explain this to you, we call this game So Wrong It's Right, where we're going to ask a question about the movie, and everyone's going to get a chance to answer it. Normally, the Wolf family dominates the So Wrong It's Right game, but Brian.
And if they don't, good
Brian
lord,
had a good
you don't want to be
showing
in the
our
same
last-
Yeah, the last
I don't
one
agree
no
with
was
that.
it was a
Less hints. Let's do less
Yeah.
hints this time.
And Andy Wolf is very defensive. This is again back to a multiple choice So Wrong It's Right.
taking it back, taking the title back right here.
Okay. This Little Bit of Heaven was not the original title or the working title for this movie. It shot under a different title
Okay, I got
when they
this.
were shooting it. I'm going to give you 5 choices. One of them is the working title of this movie. The other 4 are equally terrible names that I came up with for this film.
Okay.
Okay. Here are your options. Option 1, One Last Dance. Option 2, Bedside Manor. Option 3, Earthbound. Option 4, Love and Other Surprises. And option 5, How to Screw Your Doctor in 10 Days.
That might be it though.
One of those 5 is the real working title of the movie. The other 4 are terrible names that I came up with last night.
Run through
So
one more time.
I'm going to run through them one more time.
And then we'll
I
go
want
around
to.
the
Can
room.
I have a buzzer?
Well, everyone's going to get a chance to
Okay.
answer, and we'll see. Going through them in reverse. Well, One Last
You
Dance.
confuse me.
I've got them in the same
Going
order.
at them in a completely different order.
Counting back from 5. Yeah. One Last Dance, Earthbound, Bedside Manor, Love and Other Surprises, and How to Screw Your Doctor in 10 Days. All right, think that over. If anybody,
I
actually,
so badly want to say How to Screw Your Doctor in 10 Days because
think it over now. And I think Cody is gonna have to pick first because he's won too many of these, so we're gonna put the heat on him. This is like reverse, like favorable seating. If you've won, you actually get like
Right.
the worst seating in the so wrong it's right game.
I'm gonna say.
Do you want me to read them one more time?
I'm gonna say Bedside Manor.
Okay, Cody's going with Bedside Manor. Do you want me to
my
read
next
them?
by default because I sit next to him.
Yes.
No, I don't know. I
you
don't
can do
pick
the
him. I
other
don't
one.
pick him.
Okay, anyone needs to.
I'm thinking because it makes no sense. No sense. It'd be Earthbound.
Okay, Brian.
I was gonna say A Whole Lot of Hell, but given those choices, I will go with Earthbound as well. That was my first inkling.
Okay.
Oh, that's cheating.
Okay.
That was my first thought. I'm not gonna
Whatever.
adjust because.
What
Why don't you
else?
cry
I'm
about
gonna
it?
say
then?
because I'm gonna say because there was a
pushing me.
scene. I was gonna say because there was a scene in the movie that involved dancing, and because at the end of the movie she's dancing at her funeral, I'm gonna say One Last Dance.
That's my first choice, but I want to wait.
I was thinking. I'm not.
Okay, and Caitlin.
I was considering One Last Dance too, but I think I'm gonna go Love and Other Surprises because it's corny.
Okay. Anyone else want to change their vote?
Both those last two where I was thinking, I'm gonna stay with.
I'm
Bedside
just,
Manor.
Earthbound makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah,
It
it has
doesn't
to.
make any sense.
Okay, so Cody, you're going with Bedside Manor. Andy, you're going with
Earthbound.
I think we had 2 Earthbounds.
Brian,
right?
you're going with Earthbound. Jack, you're going with
One Last Dance.
One Last Dance, and Caitlin took Love and Other Surprises. The winner, Andy and Brian.
Earthbound. It doesn't make any
Yes!
It makes sense.
What does Earthbound have to do with anything?
have no
It sounds like a
idea.
science fiction
I have
story
no
from
idea.
1942.
That's what I was
Yeah,
saying.
I have no idea
Just
why
pick the
that
one
was
that
the
made no
title.
sense.
Yeah,
By
it
the
made
way,
no sense.
All the other ones you came up with were much better than
Yeah.
Earthbound, by the way.
Well, that
Yeah.
was
How to Screw Your Doctor in 10 Days. I was hoping for it secretly.
Yeah,
That was a good
we had a good laugh last night.
Any
but-
stop the movie moments that
By the
stick
way,
out?
before we get there, I don't know if did anybody else fast forward through the credits?
I always sit.
What?
No.
What?
I always sit through the
Somebody
credits of
should
any
take
movie.
The
Yeah, so you
remote
did?
away from
I just
you.
sit through the credits of any movie.
Did
Yeah.
you? At the-
you
the-
stayed through the credits?
No, I fast forward to them all the time to see if anything else pops up. And at the end, this was
okay.
recognized by the colorectal
Oh, yeah, I did
Society
see
of
that.
America
Yeah,
or something. I was like,
Because
really? That's
I learned nothing about colorectal cancer.
They put their stamp on this?
I learned nothing about it. This is inappropriate. I understand the whole laughing at cancer thing. It could be therapeutic.
Yeah.
And it's a good thing.
It was just funny
But
to see
this
at the
movie
end.
just
I
got
was
it wrong.
Yeah.
Any stop the movie moments.
Well, where I was gonna say with this one, maybe we can just go right to the summary of like, is this so bad?
Yeah.
it's
Okay,
good
let's do it.
Yeah. I forget how we started the last one.
It doesn't matter.
All right, I'll start with this one. I would say no. This movie was, for me, it was not so bad. This was just so bad it's bad. Had I not been watching this on a plane, I don't know if I even would have made it through this movie. It's terrible. There was nothing redeeming. It's sad when it's supposed to be funny. It's funny when it's supposed to be sad. Unintentionally funny when it's supposed to be sad. Nothing in this movie worked. The only nice thing I can say about this movie is Peter Dinklage is a great actor who deserves to be in much, much better movies
Absolutely.
than this one.
Absolutely.
And that's all. I have nothing nice to say about this movie otherwise. So, not a fan.
No.
Thank you, Jet.
Short and sweet.
Yeah, short and sweet. What do you think?
I'm going no. It's terrible. First of all, it can't be classified as a romantic comedy because it's neither romantic nor funny.
True.
At all. And
True.
I don't know how they got the cast in this movie because they had some pretty big hitters in it and they were terrible. Who read that script and said, I need to be in this?
Whoopi.
I think they were tricked.
Seriously,
Give
what?
me God, I have to be in here.
I hope all of that $12.5 million went to checks for the people who were.
It had to be.
It had to be because I can't. I agree. I don't know why anybody would associate themselves with
The
this.
other crew
Terrible.
must have gotten paid like dirt in this movie with all the stars that were in it. There must have been like $100,000 left over for everyone else.
Maybe they were like, we're going to film it in 2 weeks
Yeah.
and you'll get paid. So they're like, okay, great. We'll sign
I'm
up.
still in awe that this movie was out in theaters a month ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've never even heard of it.
That surprises me.
Yeah.
2012. This movie came out in May of 2012.
Yeah. Limited release and was released on VOD and in theaters simultaneously.
Wow.
Yeah.
That just blows my mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
My general rule is any movie I watch that's named after someone's penis, probably not going to see again, so...
That is true.
That's a good rule. That's a good rule.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those rules that rarely comes up. But
Well,
when
we've talked about this, so that's why you said you don't like to watch Mr. Holland's Opus.
Yeah,
We've
actually, and
talked about that.
Free Willy, I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I'm going to say no.
I would say, no, obviously it's not so bad. It's good.
It's so good,
However,
Oh,
I did not hate it. And if like my wife said, hey, I want to watch that movie, I'd be like, all right, I'll watch it again. But not willing. I mean,
Why would you say yes? Why? I mean, there's like hundreds of
I'm
other
gonna go mow
movies.
the lawn and have fun
like I
watching this
said-
movie.
Hey,
Like
wait,
I said-
because this is an audio podcast, let me just explain. The rest of the room is now staring awkwardly at Andy Wolf. For people who can't see this at all.
And like I said,
Jack and Cody actually
I
left
talked to
the room.
Dunbar about this earlier. That being Alex.
Okay, but
That being me.
Yeah.
I'm right here.
Alex
In
is
case there's
still
next
another
day,
one.
a lot of
I'm
times,
in the room, by the
for
way.
people who can't see.
a lot of
Alex
times
is
the
right
next
here.
day, if I think about the movie, some reason pops in my head, I think about it, then it must have been something that
Don't say that.
stuck there for some reason.
Okay, you're done.
I'm not saying I liked
You
it.
know,
but
you know,
I'm
you know how
saying-
cavemen, they used to say that cavemen used to drill holes
It
in their
wasn't all-
skulls to try to drain out the evil spirits? That's how I feel about this movie.
It wasn't terrible for me. But it's not so bad, it's good.
No, I think you're actually saying that
No,
it's just
not
good.
No, I'm not saying that at all.
I
You
think-
just said you'd watch it again.
I think you're saying
If my
This
wife
could be the
wanted
most
to.
controversial podcast we've ever done.
If my wife wanted to,
Well,
yes,
not
but-
quite with the.
Well, the happening was okay, but it flirts that line.
Yeah.
Excellent. What did you think of the mood and atmosphere of this?
There wasn't enough wind in this movie, I don't think.
We're going to cut off Andy's mic and go to Cody.
I think that absolutely. I think it's the most unwatchable movie we've done. I didn't enjoy it even a little. Didn't laugh unintentionally even. I think if you're gonna make a romantic comedy and include your main character dying of colon cancer, it's not gonna be funny or romantic, as Caitlin said. It's just
Call it the scientific term butt cancer, please.
yeah. So I don't think I would never recommend this to anyone. I would never show it to anyone. I don't ever want to see it again.
Yeah, I wouldn't even recommend this to fans of bad movies. I would not. Unless you're specifically a fan of bad Kate Hudson romantic
it's very niche.
comedies
It's
that
very niche.
want to be dramatic. Like, unless you're in that very narrow niche, you should not watch this movie. Yeah. I think that's it. We have, any final thoughts? We miss anything from anybody? No?
I just want to know where you could get a Hallmark greeting card that says, rose are red, violets are blue, I have butt cancer, and
She drew
too.
it. You got to draw one.
Yeah.
I think
Oh, she drew it herself?
Yeah,
It was
Okay.
a custom card.
It's a custom card of
They
it.
actually have that card in the rack.
Stop the movie moment for me was when she said that she wished that their baby had a large penis.
It's the second time you mentioned
Wow.
that.
I agree.
That's
That was also my
That's
stop
stuck with
That's when I wanted to stop. I thought it was the most
That was like
tasteless,
5 minutes in.
disturbing thing ever.
If-
I mean, it's...
If Andy
Yeah,
keeps
it was
liking these movies, we're going to have, stop the podcast moments.
Stop the
So we.
I didn't like it, by the way. You keep saying that. I'm not saying I liked it.
You're right on that. You're
walking that fine line.
Yeah, you are not far away from liking it. Really, really disturbing finish to this episode. People at home, I know. People at I know. Really
Very uncomfortable.
very uncomfortable.
It's almost like being in a transvestite bar, isn't it?
Well, maybe for you.
Yeah, I don't. Okay.
I wanted to let that sit for a second.
All right, so for people at home, you can find us on Facebook. Stop the Movie I Want to Get Out. We're on Facebook. You can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes. 2 of us are on Twitter.
That's right, at Jack Estabrook. I tweet my notes as I watch these movies. So if you have a chip on your shoulder and you want to experience the pain that I feel, go right on ahead and join me.
Well worth
At
watching.
Jack
You
Estabrook.
have a chip on your shoulder or cancer in your butt. Go ahead and tweet along.
Follow along. Jack's live tweet for A Little Bit of Heaven was a lot of fun to watch.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Somebody was following me.
Nice plug for you, Jack.
Thank you
It's
very
a
much.
feather in your
I
cap.
appreciate that. I know I fled people's Twitter feeds, and I apologize for that. But you know what? It's my outlet, I guess.
It's a lot of fun. What's going on? I'm at Alex Dunbar News on the Twitter.
And I'm on with Brian Mueller on MySpace. Check me out there.
Only if you're 18 years old.
I live MySpace my comments.
You can find us on Alta Vista and other popular search engines.
You need to have one of those free trial
AOL.
DVDs that you get in the mail.
So that is our next episode upcoming. We're going back to the 80s, an 80s classic, and we're going to be watching Jack Estabrook's personal copy of this movie.
It is.
Wow.
It is. I have in my
special
possession.
features.
I have in my possession the Garbage Pail Kids TV movie from the 1980s.
Yeah, if you haven't seen
We're
it,
bringing
this
it.
is a treat. Research. This is the craziest movie we will probably ever do in this podcast.
Oh, this will be fun. Does your copy have the commercials in it?
I don't know.
Oh,
I'll have to see it.
That
I
would be an
know
awesome
exactly what you're
sidebar.
talking about.
Yeah.
We should post that. We
Yeah.
should post that to Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you see clips from this movie, you're going to be shocked that this is a real movie.
It is.
That was marketed to kids. It's probably like 87-ish, right?
Something like that, yeah.
As we've learned
It's
this
been so long since I've seen it. I own it, and I actually have not watched it recently. I've been kind of avoiding it. It's like just sitting on the shelf collecting dust, and I just have to do it now.
87 was a bad year. We've already done a few films from that year.
Yeah, that was a rough time.
But that is it. Yeah, we'll be back soon.
87 was also over the top, wasn't it?
I think that is over the top.
And
it's Superman 4.
Superman 4, yeah.
And I think Jaws 4 is also in that.
86, 87.
Yeah, it's right in
Wow.
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
How about Amityville 4?
I don't know.
87
that's-
might be the black spot year of cinema history.
Yeah. Amityville 4 is timeless. That just
Oh, yeah, oh,
exists.
yeah.
It exists in no specific year. It's from a void. Wow, this conclusion is really derailed.
Yeah.
We got to say thank you to Miss Nuclo for being with us
we
today.
did.
Yeah.
The most special
Pleasure.
of guests we could have had, and we totally.
A lot better than that Nico who came by.
I know.
I'm really upset that you thought that I was on this with the glimmer of hope that I might have liked this movie when really it was Andy Wolf.
That was a
I
huge
know.
surprise.
This is
That
the
was-
dark horse
Did not
of this
say I liked
podcast.
the
is
movie.
Andy Wolf.
That was-
Said I
that
didn't
was-
hate it.
It was like a twist ending.
Said
Yeah.
I did not hate it.
Yeah. Next time we'll bring Caitlin on. It's gonna be for an action film.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
I
the
won't
Sixth
fall
Sense of
asleep.
podcasts.
Yeah, that's right. Big
Great
time
twist.
twist. So that is it. Yeah, that is our episode. We'll be back with Garbage Pail Kids and another special guest, and we'll be back soon. Thanks.
I did like this movie.